As Carl Jung once expressed, everything that disturbs us in others can actually serve as a key to understanding our own inner world. However, the point he didn't dwell on much is how we can transform this insight into a powerful tool for transformation. Keep watching the video, because what I have to share about the psychology of silence will fundamentally change your way of dealing with disrespect. If this content provides you with a new internal perspective, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and support us by liking the video, because art only gains meaning when it is shared. When someone is disrespectful to you, your first impulse is to confront them. You want them to understand you, or perhaps even learn a lesson. However, Carl Jung's groundbreaking work on the human soul reveals that your strongest move is not what you say, but what you strategically remove from your life. By the end of this video, you will comprehend why silence is the most effective method of psychological struggle. Here's a truth most people don't realize. As Jung discovered through decades of studying the human soul, when you cut off access to your time, energy, and presence, you not only send a message, but you also activate what he called the shadow, that hidden part of their personality. They avoid acknowledging. People who are disrespectful to you operate from a psychological comfort zone. They assume your kindness will keep you around, that you will tolerate their behavior. In this state, which Jung defined as projection, they project their own insecurities onto you, expecting you to carry their emotional burdens. But this is precisely where an interesting transformation begins, when you stop responding to their calls, replying to their messages, and frequenting the old places. You trigger a process in their minds that Jung called active imagination. Suddenly, they start talking into a void, trying to figure out what went wrong. This confusion is not random. It is time for them to face the shadows they've been avoiding. Jung uncovered another mind-boggling truth about human nature. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is a reaction, both are transformed. But what if one of these substances suddenly disappears? A unique psychological discomfort arises from being excluded without explanation. A journey begins, one that Jung called individuation, a process where a person is forced to confront their true self without external factors. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting only their behavior, without the shadow of your emotional reaction. This process of reflection is more powerful than any argument, because it leaves them alone with the ultimate goal facing themselves. According to Jung, real change is possible not through external pressure, but only through one's own internal confrontation. Cutting off access doesn't mean you are passive. On the contrary, it shows you have chosen to avoid conscious pain instead of meaningless conflict. You have realized that your time and energy are too precious to be spent on someone who doesn't see your value. As Jung said, the greatest privilege of your life is to become who you truly are. When you choose to protect yourself rather than punish yourself, you step into a sacred process of existence. This is the psychological turning point that changes everything. The more you focus on your own psychological space, the more you rise to a powerful position in their eyes. At first, they might think you are just being distant. They assume you will return as usual. But as Jung discovered in his clinical practice, the human soul cannot continuously ignore an absence. As days turn into weeks and your silence weighs heavily, they notice you are thriving, your focus has shifted, and your energy no longer revolves around them. That is the moment when what Jung called the transcendent function kicks in. The moment they understand they lost access to you, not because you created a scene, but as a result of a psychological decision you made. Jung has another observation that will change your perspective forever. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But what is even more chilling for those who disrespect you is to see that you have completely accepted yourself. While they remain stuck in their psychological patterns, silent transformation carries incredible power within itself. Every time you level up without announcing your steps, you change the energy around you, in accordance with Jung's principles of psychological transformation. While others expect a reaction, you build yourself up quietly and consistently behind the scenes. And nothing creates a deeper regret in someone who has disrespected you than the realization that they underestimated your process of self-realization, as Jung called it. They watch your ascent without realizing it. And that's when their involuntary shadow work begins. Jung discovered that the human mind craves predictability and patterns. But true psychological power comes from the ability to be unpredictable in your responses, which he called controlled chaos, while maintaining your internal harmony. Many people assume they must announce their progress. Yet Jung understood that true psychological development doesn't need approval. It happens only through processes of active imagination and inner work. When you begin to develop mentally, emotionally, financially, or spiritually without making noise, you gain what Jung defined as a psychological advantage. You become unpredictable. They cannot gauge your moves, and this mystery becomes psychologically intimidating. While they are still stuck in cycles of gossip and provocation, what Jung called unconscious patterns, you quietly shift gears. Invest in yourself, read more, behave differently, and choose your peace over trivial conversations. At this point, if you would like us to produce more content about Jung's psychological depths, we ask you to inspire us by subscribing to our channel and liking the video, because every like paves the way for the birth of a new work of art. Suddenly, you stop responding as you used to. You don't explain yourself. You don't join every debate you're invited to. This is what makes people look at you again, not your words, but your evolution. According to Jung, this evolution leads them to start seeing qualities in you they hadn't noticed before. You don't have to seek revenge. Your psychological development becomes the message. You never broke me. You just reminded me of who I am. Every silent step you take towards your purpose, every goal you reach without their knowledge, becomes part of the process Jung called the hero's journey. They thought you would stay stuck, that you needed their approval. But your silence proved the truth Jung always advocated. The soul has an incredible capacity for self-healing when the right conditions are provided. As Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Remaining calm in the face of disrespect is one of the strongest psychological choices you can make. This is not weakness. It is what Jung called conscious control. When someone is disrespectful to you, they usually expect an emotional reaction. They want you to get angry, to raise your voice. But when you remain calm, you deprive them of this satisfaction and change the power dynamic. Composure is not about suppressing emotions, but about mastering them through what Jung termed conscious integration. As Jung discovered, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. But the strongest form of self-respect is setting boundaries without explanation. You don't need to slam doors. You simply choose to stop replying to messages that drain you, to stop saying yes when you want to say no. This comes not from revenge, but from what Jung called psychological self-preservation. Another point Jung emphasized about human nature is this: everything that disturbs us in others can lead to self-understanding. But he also discovered that choosing not to seek revenge provides a certain psychological serenity. Life handles psychological reckonings better than you can. Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that occur when you align with your true self. Instead of reacting from a wounded ego, revenge psychologically binds you to the person who wronged you. But when you let go of the need for retaliation and invest your energy in yourself, you break this cycle. Sometimes the strongest psychological move you can make is to disappear, not out of weakness, but out of what Jung called conscious choice and self-respect. When someone is repeatedly disrespectful to you, they expect you to stay. But when you choose to walk away quietly, Your absence turns into what Jung described as a psychological message louder than your presence. This leaves them alone with their own actions, without the distracting effect of your emotional reaction. Over time, they might try to reach out, but by then, you will have become someone who no longer needs closure. As Jung emphasized, the most powerful relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. When you distance yourself from things that drain you, you make room for things that elevate you. Those who once disrespected you will watch from a distance how you thrive without them. This awareness has a harsher impact than any argument, because it will be felt in that void and silence long after you are gone. So, the next time someone is disrespectful to you, remember Jung's teachings. Don't explain yourself. Don't struggle to get their attention. Just leave with such calm and grace that they can't get it out of their minds. Because in your silence, they will hear everything they need to know about the person they lost. If this video reminded you of the deep power within and made you feel that silence is sometimes the most meaningful response, we have an artistic request for you. Share your intention to choose inner tranquility with us by writing, "My silence is my most powerful statement," in the comments below. Also, subscribe to our channel and like this video to join our journey of art and wisdom, because each one of you is a part of this sharing.